The final obstacle standing in the way of Yuskue and Kuwabara from saving Yukina were the Toguro brothers. Terukune, Sakio, and the other members of the Black Club watched on, waiting in anticipation for what was to happen. The young upstart spirit detective and his ally against two of the most dangerous hired guns in all of spirit world, feared even amongst the demons. Terukune was betting everything on this, and he made no qualms with ordering Toguro to finish the job. One way or another, Sakio, Terukune, one would be left with nothing. For Kuwabara, his confidence had skyrocketed, seeing Yukina, knowing that he was only moments away from saving his beloved. Yuskue, however, was more cautious. Of course, he was always down for a fight, but something felt off, as if the enemy standing before them, like they were hiding something. Without hesitating, Toguro would step towards the two of them, the smaller of the brothers jumping into his arms, his body contorting and transforming until eventually he became a sword. "Pardon the intrusion, but you need not worry about them," Toguro said. "I've actually been waiting for this moment for a long, long time. I've been hoping for a chance to fight against the two of you." "Is that so?" Yuskue said, the ring on his right finger beginning to glow, already thinking of what he could make in this moment to aid him in battle, as Kuwabara summoned his spirit sword. "Indeed, I've heard of your exploits. From defeating the demon Rando, the four saint beast, you've grown and built quite a reputation for yourself, spirit detective. My brother and I relish the chance to fight against a strong opponent. As you can see, we have abilities of our own, though not quite as fancy as yours, considering the fact that you carry the Star Heart in your possession." "So even they know about it?" "It's indeed a powerful weapon, but it's only as powerful as the user who wields it. I've heard that those in the past were capable of extraordinary things. I'd wish to see what you are capable of, if you can match to the legend of the weapon on your hand. Or perhaps it will become another trinket that I can add to my collection." "No offense, but you don't look like the type of guy who likes jewelry." Point taken. "Though our abilities are nothing too fancy in and of itself. My brother has the ability to contort himself into any kind of weapon of his choosing. And as for me..." The room would begin to shake as Toguro's body would begin to grow, veins beginning to bulge out of his forearms and around his collarbones, to the point where the bone became visible. A dark aura had formed around him. "I can amplify my spirit energy to increase my strength. In doing so, my defensive barrier forms even around my brother. He becomes the weapon, and I make him invincible. Together, we fight as one." Without warning, Toguro would lunge towards Kuwabara, the taller, muscular demon, bringing down his blade on top of the spirit sword. Kuwabara was able to hold on, but he could feel the immense pressure weighing down on him. "Damn! It's like having the whole building crushed on you. This guy, he's insanely strong." He wielded the sword of his brother with one hand, leaving the other free. Yuskue saw what was about to happen. He was going to use his free hand to punch Kuwabara in the gut. Thinking quickly, and even to Toguro's surprise, before he could land the blow, he felt something catch his hand. Now standing before him in similar height and stature, it appeared to be a robot congealed and made of different robotic dinosaurs, all of them the same color of green, Huh? Without warning, the robot would rear back its right arm and sucker punch Toguro in the face. Nice shot, Urameshi! Huh. I call that the Megazord Special. Megazord Special? Botan would say. Uh-huh. You got me hooked on that routine of watching cartoons every Saturday morning. I had a lot of time to catch up. They were playing some show called Power Rangers. Don't really know too much about it, but they had a cool-ass robot that kicks a lot of ass. So I figured, why not make it for myself? Toguro, meet the Megazord. And you know what the Megazord's capable of doing? So, the power of the Starheart being used as a child's plaything. Can't say I'm surprised. Though, I will give you credit for this. Your willpower is strong. The fact that your construct was able to catch my blow, I must admit that it is impressive. Though I was only putting 5% of my energy into that attack. Now, let's see how you can handle when it's dialed up a bit. Toguro would disappear once again. Before they knew what hit him, Yuskue found himself on the ground, Toguro managing to get behind him, stomping him in the back. The construct immediately would dissipate as Kuwabara would lunge towards him. His free hand, he managed to grab Kuwabara by the neck. Botan had never seen anyone move this fast. It was like he wasn't even trying. I see. So your concentration, that's what's lacking. You might be able to make anything, but you can't when you're in the heat of battle. That's the trick of that power. If you're in close quarters combat, your mind has to think at a super high speed. Otherwise, you can't create anything. Get off! Let me go! Kuwabara would say. He threw him into the air before kicking him back against the wall. Kicking Yuskue in the opposite direction, he stood between the both of them in the center of the arena. As Yuskue got back to his feet, Kuwabara would lunge at him once again, their blades connecting. Your spirit sword. A reflection of your spiritual energy. I must admit, this too also has me fascinated. There aren't many in the world who can manifest enough of their spirit energy to form a solid construct. And the fact that you can even withstand a few of my attacks, you also have my regards. But you're still a long ways away from being a proper swordsman. And if this is the best you can do, then I'm afraid your mission is going to fail. Kuwabara would duck at the last moment, seeing what was happening behind Toguro as he smirked. You know, you adults always have a bad habit, going around talking too much. Always getting distracted and not knowing what's behind you. Eat this, Toguro! Spirit gun! Immediately, the spirit gun would fire towards Toguro, but he managed to dodge at the last moment. But Kuwabara, being rather innovative, came up with something on the fly. The spirit gun had now changed direction, as Kuwabara was the one in front of the attack. But using a spirit sword, akin to a baseball bat, he swung, knocking the spirit gun in a different direction. The moment Toguro landed, he felt the shot of the spirit gun right behind him in the back. Nice going, Kuwabara. Well, what can I say? You watch a lot of cartoons? I like watching sports. All right then, let's finish it! Yuskue would now use the power of teleportation, the ring moving him at a hyper speed. Before Toguro knew what hit him, Yuskue was already dead set in front of him. Now eat this! Shotgun! Multiple shots of spirit bullets would be fired at Toguro. At point blank, there was no way that he could miss. Smoke would envelop the room following the attack, and for Botan, she thought that they had managed to succeed. But when it cleared, she was horrified. Yuske's hand had been caught. The sword that he was holding, it had turned into something else, akin to a glove. Yusuke's hand was entirely covered. The smoke was coming from inside of the palm of the glove. That actually stings a little. I have to admit your strategy wasn't half bad. If I had been anyone else, you would have managed to catch me off guard. Unfortunate for you. But how? What? Did you just assume that the only thing my brother could transform into was a sword? You know what they say about assuming, Yuskue. Before he knew what hit him, Yuskue received a series of punches to the gut, causing him to cough up blood. Kuwabara came in to help as well, but he too was stopped in his tracks. An extended left leg kick would send Kuwabara back flying, as Yuskue began to be thrown around like a rag doll. Yusuke's mind couldn't think. Before he even had a chance to consider what he could make to help him in that moment, he found himself being overpowered. Toguro made sure to give him a thorough invitation of what he could truly do. Kuwabara would try to jump in where he could, but he would only receive the same punishment in kind. Yukina, she watched the people that had come to save her. It was happening all over again. Just like back then. There was once a young man, a human, who served Master Terukane. But he had a kind heart, and he had wished to save the girl. And all he got for his trouble was being gunned down in the back. Terukane was loving this. He told Toguro to take his time. He wanted to savor every moment. Sakio thought he was gonna get the better of me. Just who in the hell did he think he is? Hey, Sakio, if I remember correctly, it was double what you bet, right? 66 trillion, 500 billion, 200 million. I made sure I got the numbers right, correct? Boy, I sure hope you know how you're gonna pay me all this dough. But don't worry, I'll make sure Toguro goes nice and slow. Let him take his time. You can get your finances in order. I take cash, money transfers. Hell, I'll even take a check if you can write it. Hey, Yukina, baby. Make sure you're getting a good look at this. You see, this is what happens when you don't do as you're told. If you had just been a good little girl, shed your tears, and helped make me them jewels, people wouldn't have to die like this. But these boys' deaths, they're on your hands. Hey, Toguro! Make sure you go nice and slow. I want to make sure Yukina here hears every bone snapping. I want to hear them boys sing! Yukina, she tried to look away, but she couldn't. They wouldn't allow her. Kurama had seen enough. He was ready to leave, and Koenma, he was at his wit's end. He was already dealing with one crisis going on in the far depths of space. Now he was dealing with this. Safe to say the world was going to end on all fronts. And he was at the line of his rope. Koenma, sir, you don't look to be doing too well. No crap, ogre. Come on, Yuskue. You gotta do something. I can't afford to lose too many heroes in one day. Kurama, where are you going? I have to do something. I'm not one to enjoy voyeurism. Do you think that it'll make much of a difference? In the grand scheme of things, no. I've only seen the Toguros fight, and that was a long time ago, but they're nothing to sneeze at. I never would have imagined that they would have gotten involved in something like this. If Yuskue and Kuwabara don't come up with something, they don't stand a chance. And I'm afraid that Hiei and Kurama aren't going to change the tide of battle much. For Yuskue and Kuwabara, they were at the end of their rope. Toguro had a way of countering everything they did, matching them in stride. It wasn't enough. Kuwabara, he couldn't move. He felt all his will to fight being drained from him. Toguro, he wasn't a wall. He was a mountain. There was no way to overcome that. It wasn't something you could just keep hacking at until it eventually fell. It was impossible. However, in that moment, Kuwabara's spiritual awareness had now been heightened once more. Even compared to his counterpart in Yuskue, Kuwabara's senses were highly sharp, so much so that he could tell when people were nearby and even what they were feeling. And on the right conditions, he could even see into their mind and memories. For Kuwabara, he could see into Yukina's. He could see into her past, what she had to endure, the torture, the mistreatment. Tarukane. His fury began to elevate his spiritual power as he began to grow and get stronger. Even Yuskue was surprised that Kuwabara was getting back on his feet. The boys had a chance to regroup, as Toguro would give them a moment, toying with them a little more. We have to stop him, Urameshi. Yeah, I got that, but I can't come up with anything. He's way too fast. Before my mind can even think of what to make or what to do, he's already on top of me. It's not them. It's Tarukane. I could see into Yukina's mind, her memories, what they did to her. Kuwabara? I know I can stop them. I just need to get close enough. Yeah, but it's not like he's going to give you the chance. Every time you try to charge, he manages to block you. Then I need to be faster. Urameshi, I have a plan, but I'm gonna need you to trust me. Okay, and what kind of plan is that? Kuwabara would go over the plan with Yuskue. Kuwabara making sure that they weren't heard. Are you insane? If I do that, you're only going to end up with a giant-sized hole in the back of your... Look, let's assume that we could pull that off. What happens if you miss? We have to go so fast that I can't miss. You really are a glutton for punishment, aren't you? Are you in or not? I'll give anything a shot, as long as we bring this bastard down. Are you two done strategizing? I have no problem with patience, though even I have to admit I get bored pretty easily. And when I do, sometimes I tend to get a little frenzied. I never know when I'm going to break. Keep talking, Toguro, Kuwabara said. He went charging right after him, Yuskue pleading for him not to. Wait a second, Kuwabara! This isn't part of the plan! Well, screw the plan! The way I see it, all I've got to do is cut him down. I don't care how strong he is. He ain't strong enough to overcome the spirit sword! Kuwabara, you idiot! Toguro would ready himself. He transformed his brother into a shield. He was going to block the sword. Then he'd land a lethal counterattack. Yuskue, waiting until the last moment, would fire off as much energy as he could into an enhanced spirit gun. The moment he shot it behind Kuwabara, it propelled him forward. Kuwabara would ride the momentum of the spirit gun to move at a hyper speed. And before Toguro could even react, Yuskue had created and constructed a giant wall to keep him blocked off. Toguro looked to his left, to his right, He was boxed in. As the moment he looked up, Kuwabara was already in front of him, his blade impaled into his gut. Told you. What? No way! Tarukane said. But, no, how did he? It was a little part of the plan, Yuskue said. We just had to fake an argument. Pretend like Kuwabara went off the rails. I fire off a shot to increase his speed, faster than Taguro could even move. And that gave me more than enough time to construct a powerful wall. Even if he could break through it, it'd have to take him a couple seconds. And in this world, a couple seconds can mean the difference between life and death. Tarukane was... No. It is rather unfortunate, Mr. Tarukane. Even though you formed the Black Club, we can no longer associate with you. Too bad. It was fun while it lasted, Tarukane. This is the last time we will ever speak. I'll be taking my fortune in a check, thank you very much, Sakio said. Tarukane panicked. He looked to his guards. Screw this tournament. Screw the rules. He was going to take the girl and they were going to flee. He didn't care how long it took, how many hours he'd have to spend making her cry. He'd make her cry day and night. 365. He was going to overwork those tears. He'd squeeze every last drop out of her, and then he was gonna... The guards in the room would fall to the ground as he turned to see a young man dressed in black. It was Hiei. Hiei wasted no time getting to Tarukane, savagely beating him down. For Yuskue, he understood. This was his sister they were talking about, but Botan was worried. Even if Tarukane is the worst of the worst, Hiei's parole clearly states he cannot harm a human. If he kills Tarukane, it's going to be trouble for him. Are you serious? Now Yuskue was a little perplexed. Sure, he understood where they were coming from, but was that fair? I mean, when it came to demons that were criminals, they had no problem with him killing them off. But why protect a human? Botan saw the look in his eyes, but now she was more concerned about Hiei. She didn't agree with the edict either. Tarukane was the scum of the earth. But the ruling was final. Before Hiei could finish him, though, Yukina would stop him. She began to fall to tears because she didn't want anyone else to suffer. For as bad as he was, his life, it wasn't worth it. Hiei would pull back his hand, holding his rage. Even if she didn't know it, the last thing he wanted to do was make her cry. By the time Kurama had arrived, the situation seemed to have taken care of itself. Yukina was rescued and safe. Hiei hadn't crossed the line. All in a day's work. For Koenma, multiple crises had been averted in such a short amount of time. He deserved a break, but unfortunately, those never come for the likes of him. 2 weeks later, Yuskue would be spending his Saturday afternoon with Keiko. After all, he had promised to take her out and failed multiple times, so now she was going to make sure he stuck to it. Of course, they were still reeling from their last escapade. Yukina had gone back to her home in the ice realm, Hiei observing from a distance, and Kuwabara stoic but heartbroken, and Yuskue had no problem rubbing it in to some extent. As for Koenma, he was going through paperwork as Ogre was helping him file away all the mission reports as Botan would arrive. Well, it seems all in a day's work. Yukina has been confirmed to have returned home safely. Thank you, Botan. You know, the last few weeks have been rather hectic. You're telling me, especially with that incident at the Rock of Eternity. Say, whatever happened to the criminal in question? Oh, you're talking about this. Koenma would open a drawer at the bottom of his desk as he pulled out a jar, and inside of it, a worm. A worm with a speaker box and glasses. You can't do this to me. I will escape. I will have my revenge and I will... He seems to be a bit of a chatterbox, but don't worry. This enchanted jar makes sure that none of his vocal spells are effective. No matter how much he tries to chant, no matter how much he tries to speak, he's entirely harmless. I can't believe that such a tiny little thing almost caused the end of the world. Say, that Campione boy that you've been talking about, how come you don't add him onto your payroll? Oh, Botan, you know how Campione are. Technically speaking, no one can hire or control them. They're people all unto themselves. It would be very taboo if I were to put the boy on my payroll. Don't get me wrong, having that type of power would make almost everything a breeze, but unfortunately, checks and balances, the laws of nature, you know how it all goes. And besides, he has his own issues that he's working with at the moment, so I can't really get in contact with him. And I don't really plan to do so. After all, I have Yuskue and you. That's cheap, affordable labor. Botan would balk at that statement until another one of the ogres came rushing in. Koenma sir, you have to take a look at this. We kept the tape rolling after the incident with the Toguro brothers. Okay, and? The tape was popped into the VCR, allowing for everyone to see what happened next. Once everyone had left and cleared the room, Terukane, a beaten, bloodied mess, now broke, destitute, the Toguros would stand, as on the monitor Sakio would appear. I see that you were able to pull off the plan flawlessly. I wouldn't put it flawlessly. I had to wait for the boys to come up with a strategy that would make my death believable. I don't know what I would have done if they hadn't thought of that plan on the fly. They thought I couldn't hear them, but hearing is very adept. But playing along was a lot easier said than done. Well, I have been given everything that I need from this little escapade, so I'll make sure to double your pay. I'm grateful, sir, but I actually have something else I'd like to ask you. What is it, my friend? Those boys. I want a chance to fight them serious. This battle, I can't even call it that. The victor was already decided long ago. We were doing nothing more but performing a mere act. I see. And I imagine that you have the tournament in mind? Of course. There's no other place where I can go all out. A chance to use my full strength. As you wish. I hope you also don't mind, but I left the ice apparition to her own devices. Who knows, maybe you might want to profit off of her tears someday. Don't worry about her. The girl is of no consequence to me. Operation Motherbox will be moving accordingly, and at an exceptional pace. The fortune that I've taken from Terukane will more than cover it. Before you leave, make sure to take care of the trash. The screen would then end with Toguro effortlessly kicking off Terukane's head. Botan turned to Koenma as the two of them looked to each other worried. He's alive! It was all a game, staged. And now he's going after Yuskue and Kuwabara. Mr. Koenma, sir, what are we going to do? You know how that tournament is. They're not made for something like this. You're telling me the Dark Tournament. I know I've gotten Yuskue in a lot of crap, but this? Oh boy. Yuskue, I don't know what you're going to do. That day in question, Yuskue was walking down the streets holding bags for Keiko. They had already gone to 3 department stores and now she wanted to go get lunch. Yuskue would have much rather have gone to the arcade, but one look from Keiko dissuaded him. If he tried to ditch her again, well, hell have no fury like a woman scorned, and no one scorned him more than Keiko. Even when holding the most powerful weapon in the universe, there was only one thing that stirred true, genuine fear in his heart: her glare. But as they looked on ahead, a crowd was gathering. A piece of a tall building had begun to fall. It looked like something had hit it. In a split second, Yuskue thought that he saw someone. But as he tried to move through the crowd, a motorcycle would pull up behind him. Sat on top of it, a tall, broad-shouldered man, dressed in a long trench coat and a helmet. "It's been a while, Detective." "How do you know who I am? Who are you?" "If you have to ask that, then I guess I don't leave as much of an impression as I thought I did." The helmet would come off. "Toguro!" "I hope it hasn't been too long. I didn't mean to disturb you and your friend on such a lovely day, but you and I have some business to discuss. Don't seem so surprised. You didn't really think you'd manage to kill me, now did you?" "You looked pretty dead to me." Kuwabara wasn't too far, and when he saw what was happening, he followed at a distance. His eyes couldn't have been playing tricks on him. How the hell was Toguro still alive? Toguro would take Yuskue to somewhere desert, an abandoned construction site. As they made their way to the top of the roof of the half-finished building, Yuskue looked rather annoyed, but deep down, there was also something else. Unbridled fear. "So what do you want, Toguro? If you came all this way for a fight..." "Relax. We're not going to be fighting. Not yet, at least." "Is that so?" "Don't worry, Detective. I can tell you this. Your fear, it's entirely warranted. Fear is what makes you stronger. I can tell. Though it's a double-edged sword. Your power, it's tampered by fear, but yet fear is what makes your spirit grow. Because in the face of death, that's where your true strength lies. I spared you once. The fight we had back then, it had already been decided long before you arrived. It was already a matter of formality. But now, Toguro would begin to amplify his strength. As he tore down the entire building, Yuskue began to fall. Before he could even manage to think about protecting himself, a large debris of rock and stone was getting ready to crush him. Toguro destroyed it at the last moment. He has that much power? Don't be too alarmed. When I fought you in Kuwabara, I only used 15 to 20% of my power. And that was just a mere 40%. I can still go even higher. But do you want to know what my greatest folly is, Yuskue? It's living in a world where nothing can challenge me. I've lived for a long time. I've fought against human and demon alike. And yet there's no one who can satisfy me. No one who can quench my thirst for battle. No matter how big, no matter how brave, it always ends the same. people dying at my hands. Do you know what it's like to walk through this world and not feel any type of fear? To walk carefree knowing that there's nothing that can harm you? No, I can't say that I do. It's agony, Yuskue. Absolute agony. To not have that sense of danger. To always go into something knowing how the outcome is going to be. It's so boring. Well, I'm sorry that you can't get your fix. Perhaps you'd like to go try the slots. I know an old man who'd probably enjoy doing that. But I get my kicks another way. And I think you know how. Toguro would disappear and then reappear behind Yuskue. In 2 months' time, there's going to be an event known as the Dark Tournament. A place where human and apparition alike, the true scum of the earth, come to do glorious battle. Nothing but blood and conquest. That is all that matters in the Dark Tournament. You and Kuwabara are special guests. I advise you to train and get stronger. You don't say. And just to make sure that we're on the same page, if you don't show up, I'll come back and kill you and everyone you love. Keiko, your mother. What? Don't get so jumpy. I'm just laying out what could happen. I know you won't let me down. Isn't that right, Yuskue? Hey, Toguro! Another voice could be heard behind them. From a distance, a playing card would be thrown. It landed between the both of them, but not before slashing Toguro in the face, causing droplets of blood to fall. The blood had also landed on the card as well. A bloody ace. So you finally made your move, old man. Consider that my official resignation to Master Sakio, the old man said. The gambler, Yuskue said to himself. Why the hell is he? I've wasted enough time with all of you. I'm done. Is that right? I think we both know that you and I will never be done. Save it, Toguro! I've had to swallow my pride. I've had to be in your presence, even when it made me sick. Well, now I'm done. So what will you do now? Do you wish to fight me here? Settle it once and forever? No. I'm here to tell you, right to your face, I'm entering the Dark Tournament as well. You're going to enter the Dark Tournament. That is amusing. And I'm not saying this because you're weak, no. You're actually quite powerful. But you had your chance. I'm no longer interested in you. Well, you better get interested, you son of a bitch! You took everything from me! Everything! I was merely following orders. Can you really hold it against me? In the end, you made the gamble, and you lost. That's your burden to bear. You think being angry at me will change anything? You, a father who couldn't even protect his own daughter. Toguro! All three of them would stand apart. The spirit energy between all three of them beginning to flare. The intensity of the moment. Hear me, Toguro. And make sure you tell Sakio, good and damn well everything I tell you. I'm coming to the Dark Tournament. I don't care if I'm an invited guest or not. I'm taking a spot. You and I, we are going to meet. I don't care how many freaking demons I gotta run through. I will get my hands on you. And when I do, I am going to kill you. You've come all this way just to make threats? That means you're not ready. But you think that in 2 months' time, whatever you're working on, you'll gain what you need to win. You always like to take the gamble. You always like to take the risk. But tell me, can you put it all on the line? Can you really gamble everything? If you lose this time, it's over. You don't get a second chance. You can crawl back to whatever hole you came from. I'm not interested in you. Is that right? Say, how do you think things would play out if I fought Yuskue? Huh? Yeah. How about I do that? I don't interest you? How about I get your attention another way? I kill Yuskue. You don't get your precious fight. You don't get what you want. Disappointment, you should know. After all, what good is a master that can't keep his students safe? That ticked a nerve. Say that again. You let them all die on your watch. And even when you won it all, you still felt empty. What's the matter? You can't handle failure, Tagoro? Before the two of them could even come to blows, Yuskue would create a giant constructed wall between the both of them. That is enough! I swear, you freaking idiots! You come to my city. You threaten me. You threaten me! It's not going down like that. Tagoro, gambler, whatever you want to call yourself. You want to fight? Well, fine then. I'll give you both the fight that you've been looking for. Tagoro, I'll be there. You come near my mother, Keiko, or anybody else, and I will rip your head off. And as for you... Yuskue looked to the old man. Don't think that I'm so easy to kill. You think that you're gonna kill me to get to him? Not gonna happen. And you think that you're gonna make a fool out of me to get to him? Not gonna happen. I'm Yuskue Urameshi, damn it. And in 2 months' time, I'm kicking both your asses. A strong pull of spirit energy could be felt. 3 powerful signatures, each one their own burden to bear. In just 2 months' time, the Dark Tournament would begin. This concludes Yu Yu Hakusho Emerald Detective. What if Yuskue Urameshi was the Green Lantern? Season 1, Part 14, the Season 1 Finale. We have come to the end to yet another season of another story here on Power Chord Productions. The first ever Yu Yu Hakusho What If here on the channel, and I've had a lot of fun with this one. Getting a chance to rewatch one of my all-time favorite animes paired with one of my favorite superhero characters was definitely something to enjoy throughout the process of making this story. I do look forward to exploring this series more. Like I've said before, this story will be one of the linchpins of the Earth 2 saga as a whole. Like, the main story threads of this particular story are going to be the ones that will be felt in all the other stories. Not all at once, but in some way, shape, and form, all the other stories are going to come back to this one. So this is definitely like the crown jewel of Earth 2. So I encourage all of you, when you're rewatching this series, when you're rewatching the other stories in the Tales of Earth 2, definitely keep close attention to this one, to this series, because this is going to be the series that has the most lore, that ties back into everything else, from Basara Flash to Twin Star Exorcist, Hawkman and Hawkgirl, to JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Dr. Fate, and so on and so forth. Everything finds its way back here. So I'm just saying, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Like I've always said, I can't do it without you. You make the channel grow. You make the core grow. Next time when we come back, we have 2 more stories left before we come to the end of Tales of Earth 2. But I thank you all for enjoying today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.